Now, as expected, Maxi and taxi fares have increased again. South Maxi drivers have announced increases to their fares, with some scheduled to take effect today, while others will take effect at the beginning of November. With me to talk more about this increase is President of the Route 4 Maxi Taxi Association, Mr. Sham Mohammed, and Secretary of the Association, Mr. Ronnie Singh. Gentlemen, good morning. Thank you so much for joining us on Now.
Good morning, good morning, good morning, Trinidad and Tobago. Good morning, TTT, for having us.
Now, Mr. Mohammed, I'll start with you first. Just explain to us exactly which, the route 4, which route is this?
Okay, so I'd like to clarify some misinformation that has been circulating in the public domain. We
Right.
are Route 4 Black Band Maxi Taxi. We service the southeastern peninsula of the island. That means to say we start in San Fernando, traverse through Princestown, Rio Claro, Mayaro, San Grande, and also Moruga.
Right.
So, Guayara, yes.
Right.
We head to San Grande, we meet with the red band. So there's a connection.
Okay, and in
Also,
terms of the, Mr. Mohammed, you hearing me?
yes,
All right.
hardly do.
Is it possible for you to turn up your volume a bit on your phone, or let me know how you're hearing me now?
Yeah, I'm hearing you.
Okay. All right.
Better.
So you just gave us an overview of exactly the route for the maxi taxis. Now, is it that there's an increase that's going to be taking place for this route, and when will that increase take effect?
Effectively, it will be the first Monday in November, which is the 7th of
Right.
November 2022. Now, we have cutoff areas where we have hubs situated in San Fernando, Princestown, Rio Claro, Mayaro, where we would divert into the different directions. I'll let Mr. Singh elaborate on the cutoff areas, the distances, and the fare as we go along.
Right.
But I just want to say that
Mr. Mohammed,
this increase has been, yes.
you broke up for a while, but go
Hello.
ahead. This increase,
Yeah, this increase has been in the making for some time. It has been 5 years since we increased fares, and in a 5 year period, we are all aware of the increase in everything: cost of living, uh, fuel, even the
maintenance.
Mr. Mohammed, I'm going to go to Mr. Singh just to get the increase in prices. Okay, so Mr. Singh, I'm bringing you in. In terms of the increase in prices, can you tell us the increase in price? And I guess you can continue on what Mr. Mohammed was saying in terms of the reason for the increase. Mr. Singh, can you hear me?
Yes, I'm here. Yeah.
All right, so can you tell us the increases that's taking place along the route?
Yes, we have like in terms of increases, we increased by $1 on the short drops, and on the long distances, we increased it by $2. As Mr. Shah was saying, it's been like 5 years since we have increased our fares. It has been like through the COVID, all these things. We, even though it was at 50%, we kept our fares at that rate. We didn't increase. But now it's because of the high maintenance, cost of living, and the fuel increase that we cannot absorb it anymore. So we just increased by some areas $1 and $2 increase. So the areas that we started from is like from Princeton to San Fernando, they were like $7 to reach San Fernando from Princeton. It's increased by $2. It's going to be $8, $9 it's going to be now. And other areas such as we have like Princeton to Moruga, they increased by $2 from 11. They went to 15. Princeton to Rio Claro, they also increased from $10 to $12. You know, and like Mayara as well, from Rio Claro to Mayara, they also increased from $8 to $10 in those areas, like long distances. There are other areas in between that also increased, you know, like Princeton to Tableland was 7, they went to 9. You know, and like in Moruga also there's short areas like Princeton to St. Mary's. They were also 7, they increased from 7 to 9.
Right.
and like that. So
Okay. Now, I
that is
know
it
that
basically.
Mr. Mohammed was saying that it's a 5-year period, and so an increase was coming, regardless of the increase in fuel prices. But was there a reason for the increase to take place now, as opposed to, let's say, after Christmas, or even when people start back to get back on their feet? Is there a reason why it was done at this point in time?
Yes, because well, we were planning to raise along, but as now that the fuel increased more, like how much times it is, at least 4 times maybe. We didn't increase at all. Remember, we used to pay like 150 a liter at the time. Now we're paying 440 something a liter. So the fuel consumption in our vehicles is like almost double. In fact, some cases almost triple because depends on the run you make. And the price of maintenance of the vehicles now, like in terms of like tires and all those things, increased very high.
Right.
So we can't absorb it. Like at the end of the day, when you work and your expenses, it's like you're going nowhere, next to nothing. And when they face the groceries, they still have to pay the high prices as everybody else. So we tried to be as lenient as we could over the past years, but at this time, it's like it's training us a bit. So we just needed to give that. Although we had the public in mind, that we didn't want to go as high as thing, but we tried to be as understanding as we could in our peers.
All right. And Mr. Mohammed, I'm going to try to bring you back in. Can you hear me properly now?
I'm hearing you, but not as. But I'm hearing you.
Okay, all right. I wanted to know, in terms of the school children, because I know sometimes some drivers will offer school children a reduced fee or a reduced rate. Is it that school children are going to be paying a cheaper rate than everybody else, or is just one fare across the board for everyone?
Well, it's one fare across the board for everyone. If we leave it at the onus on the driver, if he choose to, we would. And then we have people or commuters who travel and they they don't have the full fare. We lenient with them. We carry them still because we know it's a struggle out there. We all fighting in this thing, and we trying as best as we can.
Right. Now, Mr. Mohammed, are you concerned at all that the traveling public might take an alternative, for example, a bus or a car? Are you concerned that you might lose some commuters as a result of the increase?
Of course, there's always competition. Always. PTS is advertising a $3 service from Princeton to Rio Claro, which is a much longer distance than Princeton to San Fernando, which they're advertising it for $4. We don't understand the logic in that. And then we have the PH. Mind you, the PH pulling up in front of they're passing the maxi taxis, bad driving us, pulling alongside the passengers before they could stop them and telling the passengers that they are going for the maxi taxi fare. So when we see passengers ahead of us, a couple 100 feet away from us, by the time we reach there, the PH going with them. And that's just how it is.
So what is the solution to an issue like that, Mr. Mohammed?
The government has to step in and do their part.
How?
They do so much.
So, so I was asking how, because I know, for example, Mr. Acosta is always trying to make the point that the PH drivers should be regularized. And so I'm wondering if it is you are thinking along that same vein. Do you think the PH drivers maybe should not be on the stand? Like, what is a possible solution to the issue of the PH drivers taking the commuters?
Similar to Mr. Acosta, get them into the system. There's no wrong way to do the right thing.
Right.
It cannot happen that way. It cannot have a wrong way to do the right thing. Get them into the system. Mr. Acosta gave an alternative, and we think it's fair.
Mm-hmm. And
We all need to be moving people in a safe and effective manner. Mind you, look at some of the PA drivers, how they operate: short pants, slippers, armless vests, and the moving people. That is so unfair.
But on the flip side, I know that some of the PH drivers will also make the argument as well that when the maxi taxi drivers go home and the other drivers go home, they are the ones who are on the road, moving those commuters home during those late hours. Is there any chance
Yes,
that the other drivers are going to stay out late to accommodate those commuters?
maxi taxi may not be feasible. There's not much people to move around at night, mainly because we are not into the main artery of the city. We are on the outskirts. We are now trying to get back into the city at night. Like in Princeton, I cannot drive through Princeton at no time at all, whether day or night. Rio Claro has a 6 p.m. to 6 a.m. 6 a.m. sorry to 6 p.m. restriction. That's during the day, but they can go through at night. In San Fernando, we recently, just about a month ago, we got to go into San Fernando, but the area we located is a bit dismal. So we are trying to enhance the maxi taxi transport at night, but it is in the making and it will take some time.
Okay. And Mr. Mohammed, any other concerns you would like to raise as it relates to the Route 4 Maxi Taxi Association?
Concerns, just get those roads repaired. It's
Right.
terrible. It's deplorable. And the entire Route 4 district where we work, man, the road is terrible.
Okay. And Mr. Singh, I'm going to bring you here finally. Any closing thoughts in terms of the price increases, what commuters can expect?
Well, as I say, we increased from $2 increase. So some commuters who travel with us, they find that is reasonable enough because after this amount of years, that 5 years we have increased at no time. I find that it was fair enough. Some commuters may think so, but then some may think otherwise, right?
Yeah.
So we're outside there and we just alerting everybody that, at this time we are trying to be as considerate as we could. And in doing this, we hope that we don't put too much strain on people, but we are considerate and compassionate towards the people that travel with us.
Yeah. And Mr. Mohammed, finally, I know that you said this was a 5-year in terms of the increase that was coming. But for example, if we see another fuel increase, let's say next year, will customers also have to pay another increase in fares, in prices?
That we will have to review when the time comes.
Okay.
And we'll take that into consideration then.
Okay. Well, Mr. Mohammed, Mr. Singh, thank you so much for joining us on Now. Have a good day. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you all for having us.
Have a
Thank
good
you,
one.
Trinidad and Tobago.
And that was President of the Maxi Taxi Association Route 4, Mr. Sham Mohammed, and Secretary of the Association, Mr. Ronnie Singh.